Hey guys, welcome back to part 3 of the builds tutorial. We'll be building the 3/4 view today of your character. So let's just start at the very outside of all the symbols, and we're just gonna click on your model sheet, and I'm holding down shift and shifting this over some. And as you can tell, we didn't build this, like whenever I made the model sheet, not everything matches up quite right, but we're only doing the head right now. So just make sure the head kind of matches up. And if you need any extra reference, you can also go to View, Guides, Show Guides, which are these here. And then you can also drag down some guides to match along where you can see like, oh, this is how tall the head is. That's where the chin goes. And like you can just make a guide for like, oh, that's where the eyes are, just to help you out there. Let's make a new frame here for the 3/4, and it will be at frame 107. And go in and make some new frames here. There's something going on inside of our pigtail symbol. Don't mind that. I made a couple of changes to the front view in between tutorials because I realized that she was missing part of her skull almost out of the side of the front view previously, and it wasn't going to match up whenever I built the 3/4 view. So if you wanted to grab the updated file of the one that I fixed, you can just grab that at a Dropbox. You don't have to sit there and watch me fix everything in real time, which is really boring. Okay, so this wiggling part is just in here. We're just going to take that out. We're getting ahead of ourselves with having a 3/4 view pigtail there. Okay, so let's go into the head symbol since that's what we're focusing on. We can just turn off the body for now. We don't need it distracting us. And we're going to start by turning off the hair, since that will be the last thing I change. Right now what we want to focus on is making this view look like it rotated into a 3/4. If you had a character that had really big ears, I would take this ear and cut it. Oops. There we go. And paste it underneath the head. And then like rotate it around and back to where it should be. Like if you had like big rabbit ears or something like that. This character does not have that kind of ears, so you won't be seeing them in this view, so I just deleted the ear. Okay, so hair can go. I'm gonna start by moving the facial features. So select everything except for the face in that ear. We're just gonna move that over, and I need to turn the face off so I can see the sketch. And I'm just gonna match some of this up a little bit more. If you had a really big difference in this eyebrow, like say you were animating something and you wanted to do a change of expression or something, and it's not such a subtle change, I wouldn't skew it on the outside like I'm doing here. I do it on the inside. But since this is just a very subtle adjustment, I just do it on the outside, so that if you want to tween this, it will just tween nice and smoothly and you don't have to worry about switching frames on the inside. That's just a personal preference. Also, I'm going to select all the eyes on screen left, all these eye layers right here, and then hit Ctrl-Alt-S to bring up scale and rotate, and make them smaller by 95%, so it shrinks it by 5%. And that will just help with, you can also do it more than once if you think that it needs to be a little smaller. You can just adjust it to whatever size you want, or you can do it with the transformation tool and do it freehand. It's just usually whenever like you do a head turn like that, the eyes will kind of, the back eye will kind of appear a little bit smaller than the front eye. And you could just make a new eye on the inside of the symbol, but to be able to tween all of her features, if you want to do like a head turn and make it nice and smooth and have all the features tween, it's a little bit easier to set it up this way instead. Oh. I didn't grab both of them. I was trying to move the whole eye. So that's roughly adjusted to where her face is. Maybe this should come back a little bit. And next we're gonna work on the mouth. Okay, so I had forgotten to delete this. I had already went and did some of this stuff earlier. Let's just go back to scratch. Because I had already recorded this tutorial and I accidentally deleted the file. But on the other hand, I will have a more awesome tutorial now because of the practice. Okay, so this is the front view map and we want to turn that into a 3/4 view map. I'm just gonna delete the other view out of everything. Okay, so now all we got is that front view map. So if we go to frame 25, we make a set of keyframes here for the 3/4 lip sync. We just want to leave some space in case we want to put lip sync in over here. And then we're gonna make this a little more simple and only look at this outline. We can transform it a little bit since this is just lines. And I'm going to make this point on the map up a little bit higher and this one a little bit lower. And then we can also just grab the bottom bit and shift it over a little bit if you want. I don't know if I want to put it down too much more. Just remember that that sketch is pretty inaccurate for the proportions and stuff. It's a really rough drawing. Okay, so once you get the map to roughly where you want it, you can just start adding in different details. Like, let's do the color fill first for her mouth color. You can just go over here and grab it and paste that in. And then let's put the tongue in the right position. So I'm just gonna grab the tongue and move it over. I wouldn't even bother redrawing the tongue for this one, just because it's such a minor change and you're not really distorting it whenever you change it. Okay, and now the teeth. I just go inside, make a new frame, and then we can just skew this down a little. And then we're gonna grab this, move that up to your mask layer, and delete the line. Oops. And I deleted the line on the wrong layer. Make sure you delete the line on the mask layer. Okay. There's a good chunk out of the 3/4 view. So it looks weird if her ear doesn't move. We're gonna move this a little bit forward. And now we're just gonna get started on the hair. I'm gonna just turn off anything extra. And just focus on the two big chunks of hair at the moment. Just slide them over a little bit so they kind of match up with where they'd run together. And I had already previously drawn this one in, and I accidentally left it in the symbol. So you can just redraw, like you could watch me redraw this. I might just use this one. All I had done was redraw it based on the sketch. And if you needed some assistance on the sketch, like you're having a hard time seeing it, or you're just trying to figure out what shape you want to make out of it, you can just make a new layer and quickly just sketch in the rough shape of her hair. And then I just drew in kind of where those details were. So you can see it over top of this. But then you can also adjust it so you know, oh okay, like her hair was too tall before, so let's just bring that down a little. Where do I want her hair to be? And then redraw your frame to match your sketch. And I think this side might also be a little wide, so you can just like bring this into and just cut off a chunk of it and readjust it. Same with this if it's too short. And then I'm just going to adjust my previous drawing to that little sketch, because the only difference would be that I'd redraw this and you'd have to sit there and watch me redraw it, which is honestly kind of boring. The main thing is that you know how to do it for yourself. Okay, and now we just need to stick her hair over here. So it connects. Oh, and this needs to be layered above, so we're gonna just bring these two, click here, make a couple new layers, and paste one on each layer. And then I had also previously redrawn this elastic, and the elastic needs to be underneath the hair. All I did was take this elastic, I brought it over, and then I rotated this piece and I moved it over here. And that's how I came up with the other view of the elastic really quickly. So this is set to frame 2. And I had tweaked this hair previously too in the front view. So now the pivot points are where they should be, which is right here in the tips. So if you do need to make any adjustments to the angle of the hair, you can just go like this and rotate it nice and easily. We're just going to slightly adjust this for 3/4 view. Let's take a look. that was most of everything. Oh right, and the hair has a timeline of its own now. That was another change I made. So for each view, as it rotates, there'll be a view here. But over here, if for some reason she has like the front view head and then she goes to change that 3/4 at frame 31, and we go to put her 3/4 view there. Oops. I'll just show you. Then you just go in here, switch this to frame 31, and then you can either grab frame 31 from here, or if there's not really a big difference between these two views and it's just like the hair is slightly different, you might not even need to change that part, but you do need to make sure this is synced to frame 31. So later on, if you want to do some animation on her hair because like her hair is bouncing as she turns her head or something, you can just do all that animation in real time in here, and it will all just match up to the exterior here. So if you do need to, you can just make sure that everything is matched up to frame 31. So then you can just animate the movements on the inside of the symbol, and the rotation will be back here, out of the way. You don't have to set it up like that, but I thought it might make some things a little more simple. And I'm adding some blank keyframes here because if you put your 3/4 view here, then you have parts of the 3/4 view where they shouldn't be in the front view. I think that's it for the head. Oh, we need to delete that ref layer if you have one. We don't want that showing up later. And then we can just go on to the body. So I might just bring her head forward slightly here, and we can take a look at her rotation there. So if you prefer, you can just make a new layer and trace off that rotation, or you can just go into each symbol and redraw bits. Just gonna put this at 3/4 view. Let's look through that, and I'm just gonna adjust the sketch since, like I said, the sketch wasn't 100% accurate on how the body pieces line up. Most of the body is alright. The only thing to keep in mind is that her shoulders are actually too tall in the sketch. So just make sure when you build the rotation that you don't build that into it. You just make sure it matches with how long her torso is in the front view. Okay, so let's start with the legs. It feels weird. Let's start with the torso. This is the 3/4 view. I'm gonna set this to outline mode, and then we can just draw in this piece. There will be a lot of just, let's go to this view, put in a new frame, redraw the piece, and we might do a little bit of layering them over top of each other, but I may just speed this up later, just so you don't have to sit there watching me redraw pieces, which can get pretty boring later. Okay guys, there's the 3/4 view. Doing the profile is pretty similar. The back to quarter might be a little bit more complicated. In the next one, I'll briefly go over doing the profile, and then we'll see how long that takes. Anything where I just have to take the symbol and redraw something in it, I might just keep speeding those bits up, and let's see how far we can get through this. Thanks. Hope you enjoyed this. Feel free to subscribe or comment, ask questions, anything like that. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.